John, coming at you after a little bit of a break. Yeah, greetings, everyone. Should I play the Halloween Gambit, even though it's far from Halloween now? I took down my pumpkin in the back. It's too bad, but we're going to play a Gambit here to start. Make the first game spicy in this Lichess plays, right? Hello to everyone following on YouTube and Twitch. What's up, Liam Clary? Hello, Malcolm. What's up, Polar Cow? Shout out to our YouTube friends, Tarek, Thomas Juice, Babesh, Buddha Billy. What's up? Matt Clancy, Victor. It is time indeed, yes. All right, so we're going to keep pushing around these knights. If you're just joining, yes, I did sacrifice a knight on e5. Hello, No Joke. Good to see you. What's up, Nature? Yeah, this is a 3+5 game. That's too bad. I didn't catch that. I was adjusting my layout as I tend to do at the beginning of the stream, and I completely missed that it's a 3+5 game. That escaped my attention. So hopefully this doesn't take too long. Playing the Eric Rosen openings. Yeah, I avoided a potential Stafford Gambit when my opponent played the Petrov. I played Knight C3 on move 3, but I managed to steer it into a Halloween Gambit instead. Shady Finn, thank you very much for the sub. Okay, Bishop B4. I think that is one of the better moves. I want to say the move's Queen F3 here. I don't quite remember, but let's set up the cheeky scholar's made attempt. And if you're just joining for the first time, this is Lichess Plays. I'm playing all comers for the next 2 hours in 3+0 Blitz. It's got to be 3+0, even though this was a 3-5 game. I will not be accepting anything other than 3-0. And no priority is given if you're a sub or whatnot, so it's open to everyone. I'll try to play as many people as I can. Hello, Belgian novice. All right, maybe you will. 64 square poet. Very possible. Okay, F6. So now I feel like I'm getting some serious traction in the position. Taking, followed by check here is interesting, but you know what? I think I'm just going to castle. I'm not afraid of this because that would play right into my hands. So it could be kind of difficult for black to get their king out of the center. Bishop A3 might be coming into the position too. No priority, even if I'm a biggest fan. Yeah, unfortunately not, at least not on this stream. But I appreciate you being a big fan. How about that World Championship, huh? I think everyone has been digesting what has happened over the past few days. They just had the closing ceremony today to make it official. Hey, Harry Chess. Play a check piece if you get a chance, please, says Yanni. I think you mean like check Benoni. Yeah, greetings to you, Yanni. Also, Richard, by the way, and Thomas Juice. Nepo imploded after his pawn blunder. It only got worse. Yeah, to me, it seemed like a tale of two matches, right? I mean, we had the first part of the match, games 1-5, where Nepo was playing quite well. I mean, Magnus was playing well too, but I think Nepo's stability, the preparation he was showing, even pressing Magnus at times, surprised people a little bit. And then after that game 6, which was a marathon game, the 7-hour, 45-minute game, seems like Nepo imploded to me and got extremely careless to a surprising degree in some of the games. The Petrov game where he really just played too risky with the black pieces and paid the price. This is checkmate, by the way. Thank you, Spacetime Wolf, for the game. Yeah, got to be a little more careful here. All this has been played before, but I think here, in this position, you might be better off, D5. D5 is a move the engine often likes here in order to open up the light square bishop, even though white can take or take this way. I was thinking maybe queen e7 would be a more secure defense. Definitely, I'd try to avoid playing f6 because that gives my bishop a lot of scope. So, thank you, Spacetime Woe, for the game. Who's next? Here we go. Samir, good luck. This is a 3-0 game. Good. Hello, Jimmy Page. Recluse says Nepo has to improve mentally and not collapse. It'll be interesting what he has to say, maybe in more extended interviews after the match. I'll be really curious from both players how they felt the match went. Maybe they've already been honest about their full feelings about the match in the press conferences and the brief interviews after the games. But from Nepo in particular, I'd be really curious what his strategy was, if anything, different from what he has already talked about. Yeah, Smith-Morra, here we go. E4, this hits pretty hard here. Black's got to be careful. We got the rook lined up with the queen. But yeah, some of the mistakes were shocking. I mean, G3 in the final game, just really, really reckless stuff. It's hard to justify something like that, I think, for a player of his level. You know, I would think other top players, even in that pretty desperate match situation, would almost never make a blunder like that. But then again, there's very few people who have gone through the accumulated mental toll of a match like that against the best player in the world. So for sure, that has an effect. All right. I feel like I should be winning something here. Let me think. This and this are major candidate moves. Does either of them win? Maybe not. If I take here, I could take here for one thing. There's also pressure against F7. Oh, man, there's some tempting stuff. If I take here, takes there, I give a check. King over. Nobody home. I got my pawn back and everything. I feel I'm on the verge of crashing through, but maybe there's no tactic. I might do this. Take here, but he takes F4. Where's my checkmate? It's so close, but it's not there. Agonizingly close. I think I'm just going to take this one. Really not sure, so I'm going to take that one. Free juicer? I don't know. Yeah, and on this one, I was thinking either check or throw in G3, but my bishop is hanging, so I think I got to check first and then maybe move the bishop. Yeah, we'll just play this. Bishop G4, I'm going to go here. This is a bit precarious for black, so perhaps I can exploit that. I had double check with queen e8 mate. I wasn't seeing it unless I just straight up miscalculated that, which is possible. What are my thoughts on the Dubov drama? I think Daniil is completely in the right. I think most people agree with that. He's not beholden to representing or being loyal to a Russian player just because he's Russian himself. And again, I think most people are on board with that viewpoint. I think that's really the only logical viewpoint. Can I take here now? Take and then knight g6 and take the rook? Seems to me. And of course, Dubov has a relationship going back many years with Magnus now. He's helped him in the past. They've been training partners. He's been a second before. Take here now. Got this covered, so no big deal. Queen g8. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Wow. Okay, where's my checkmate? Queen g8, and then I can close the door if I want with something like h4 or f4. I'm seeing if there's force mate here, though. This is another consideration, but I'm going to go for this one, I think. And then I like this door closing move, h4. Just seems pretty clean because we take away the flight square. Queen h8 mate is now a threat. I never have to worry about anything back rank myself. I don't know. Has Nepo said anything about that? I think Nepo has largely not elaborated on Karyakin's viewpoint. Oh, and now here, I don't even have to take the queen. I can actually go here. Because I'm pretty sure Nepo doesn't hold anything against Dubov. All right. Let me thank you for the game, Samir Burkodi. Let me look this up. I'm kind of curious about the evaluation right here. It really felt like I had something, but I don't know. Rook takes d6 is the move. Then bishop f7, knight takes f7. Oh, is that what someone was mentioning with queen e8? Take. And the point is if the bishop gets captured in the end, queen e8 is checkmate. That's not the easiest line to calculate. A lot of moving parts to that one. Okay, otherwise, knight takes c6 is the next best move. I guess I don't feel too bad about that. I just chose a practical option. I did think for a while. But not too bad, Samir. I think you got to get this light square bishop out. Yeah, I like the bishop e6 move. I was mentioning bishop g4 as well. Another possibility. But got to get that guy out. Never managed to get that piece in the game. Good evening, Archeo, by the way. All right, thanks for the game. So a couple fun gambits. We had the Halloween gambit and now the Smith Mora. Let's keep pushing here. Oh, Thomas. Good luck to you. All right. Let's play Alekhine's defense. I was just looking at Alekhine's defense with a student of mine. Shout out to Jose, one of my students. We were talking about it not more than an hour ago. Happy Gilmore accomplished that feat not more than an hour ago. Or not less than an hour ago. Hello, Axiom. Good to see you. Now I think you go bishop f5, e6. White always has to watch knight b4 as well. I don't think I would play knight b4 here. There is knight a3. I admit it's tempting, though. Actually, I mean, what's the problem with that? Why shouldn't I force the knight to a3, right? You go on ahead, John. Go for it. Let's make white play this passive move. My thinking is then it'll be hard to dislodge the knight from b4 because I don't have to worry about pawn a3. Like, where's this knight going to go? And fortunately, I'm guarding against queen a4 check. So, seems legit. Whoa. Thomas, don't do us like that. You're in the YouTube chat as well, Thomas Juice. Don't break our hearts like this. Again, it's no laughing matter if someone has cheated, but I can't help but chuckle a little bit given that it happened mid-game. Well, all right, we're going to go on from there. That was theory, huh? Yeah, looks like it was. Bishop e3, bishop f5. Knight c3 played a lot more often. Probably to meet knight b4 with rook c1 would be my guess. But this has been played as well. But it looks like we're following 3 games, according to the database. Lord Overlay says, finally, Lichess is a cheat detector. Maybe I'll start playing on it again. Yeah. I do appreciate that about Lichess. So I know some Lichess mods are watching and many of you who play on the site too. Lichess is quicker to ban cheaters than chess.com is. I haven't seen really anything to indicate that that's not the case. It's been my anecdotal experience, and I do appreciate that they move fast on cheaters, and they don't hesitate to ban them even during a game. Chess.com has done that occasionally too in like high-profile stuff. I've seen Titled Tuesdays, for instance, where someone will get banned like mid-tournament. But I really give Lichess a lot of credit for that they don't... Queen e8's an odd move, maybe trying to come here. They don't allow people using assistants to, have much leeway. They don't give them really any chance, which is great. So castles here, should I really be concerned about that? I mean, maybe, but I'm gonna still go here. It's an interesting maneuver by green Pterodactylus. Okay, king b1. And now a lot of times this bishop is going to go here. So I could try to preempt that, but I think for now, let's just develop. I like this line because you kind of bunker up around your king. All right, let's go here. Block the attack. Now, I want to try to annoy this bishop, but I'm thinking maybe do this first. Just get the h-pawn involved, looking for knight g5. This is under attack now. Might have to go knight d4. Yeah, I missed the strength of this move. I could maybe do this and then here. Seems kind of extreme, though. Probably unjustified. King b2, there's knight here. Yeah, I guess I gotta go knight d4 and block. This might turn out to be a trade fest. No Joke Chess says the Lichess mod team is now well above 50 people. Wow, that's impressive. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so this endgame looks pretty much equal. I don't think there's much to indicate that either side is substantially better here. Thought pterodactyls went extinct millions of years ago. Well, hopefully I can make my opponent extinct in this game. There's a pterodactyl opening, by the way. Which is... I think the pterodactyl is like a line of the Pirts. It's like e4, d6, d4, and then like c6, queen c7, e5. Some sort of setup like that. Or maybe the queen coming out to a5. Someone will know, I'm sure. Let's bring the king up. We're playing for the long run here. Go b4. Jurassic Park variation, yeah. There is a hyper-accelerated pterodactyl as well. That's a cool sounding name. In fairness, attaching hyper-accelerated to the beginning of a name makes almost anything sound cool. b6, all right. Okay, let's bring this rook over. It will be now cooperative if black were to take. I think I would hold off on that trade if I were playing black, but let's see what they do. We're shifting the battle a little bit. Ooh, did I hang this? Maybe I go back now. Maybe I go back and I claim that I saw that all along. I'm going to take h5 next. But no, I just hung that. And if g5, there's g3 for me. So fortunately, that doesn't hurt me. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're going to give me bishop h7? Mr. Pterodactyl? Here? Oh, I can't get my other rook over easily, though. That's unfortunate. I mean, I think I should still play this because this looks awkward for my opponent. If I could get my other rook over here, I could mate them on h8. So I'm very tempted to try to set that up. But I don't know. I don't have much time. Let's just do this. Remember, no increment. I could try to go win this pawn. It's a sensible thing to do. But I think I'm going to try for this if given the chance. Ooh, there's this, though. Be advised. All right, we're going to go here first. Might need to play a3 too at some point. Yeah, let's just solidify everything first. This is the plan, though. All right, and he cracks. He breaks with that. That was uncomfortable for my opponent, so I can see why he did that, but this is not going to turn out well for black. Not at all. All right. Winning position. Let's see if we can convert it. How about that technique? Rook f5 next, maybe? Ooh, all right. Happy to trade. Let's go here. Just cramp my opponent a little bit. Okay. Continue cramping. This bishop's now buried. That's good. I guess I can go here. If he took, I was going to go rook d5. Here, rook d5 and be able to get behind the pawn. All right. Thank you, Green Pterodactylus, for the game. I think you're doing fine in the middle game. Yeah, you're even a tiny bit better here, a shade better according to the engine. d5 was good. I thought perhaps Yeah, maybe a4 is rushed. I didn't play this stage of the game all that well. I missed that the h-pawn was hanging. Maybe a5, a4 wasn't the best plan. Looks like the engine's saying something like rook here and then b6. You could probably achieve almost the same thing, like undermining the pawns, but without committing to a4 yet. So thank you for the game. Close one. Who do we have next? Okay, 64 Square Poet. Good to see you. Let's do this. Let's play knight f3. Hello, Richter's neighbor. It says, good evening, John. Are you out hunting easy content again? That's a reference to something a GM said to me when I was playing him in a Blitz match the other day on chess.com. He was extremely salty, which was funny because I didn't say anything to him whatsoever. And he just started talking smack in the chat. Okay, I'll play knight d5. This is a line that I advocate in my chessable course. Yes, he called me a chicken player. Yeah. Ooh, this is a risky move. Bishop c4, and I can try for some sort of d6 against the enemy. Bishop g5 is also a move here. I think I should go bishop g5 first, hit the rook. Thank you, Malcolm. Yeah, I've been playing some good Blitz lately, which I've been happy about because I have not been super active over the past many months in the Blitz department. But it's been nice to play some good games. Okay, I think I would do this. I don't want my bishop to become trapped. Let's play rook c1. Let's line up against this. Yeah, you have to watch my stream, City Scout. You guys can check me out on twitch.tv/John Bartholomew, just my full name. I know, right? Yeah. Being lucky in a chess game is always an interesting accusation. But I did make the point. I would much rather play against a smack-talking grandmaster who's just like generally annoying and just being a jerk than play against a cheater any day. Okay, take. Take looks pretty compelling. Take, and can I actually almost like leave the bishop hanging for a moment? It kind of depends where he goes. Well, let's just take first. This might not even be the best move, but it's interesting. So I'm thinking like I might be able to leave this hanging and play something like c7 or takes. Takes here, though. I don't like that this pawn is hanging. So let's play c7. I'll try to avoid activating this light square bishop. Okay, then that comes out. I guess I got to retreat it now. If take, I'm always going to play knight d2 and try to scoop this. I have a feeling black's okay here if they play this perfectly, though. Might take a little bit of effort to win that pawn, but I was thinking like maybe rook e7 on the previous move. Even here, black might be okay, but it's going to take some moves to corral this pawn. h4 maybe, but if black didn't take, I wasn't sure what to do. You know? Okay, let's just castle now. Now, this hinges on whether I can keep that c7 pawn. If I'm going to maintain an advantage, I want to be able to maintain that pawn. Okay, Luth says, I mean, to be fair, there can be luck in chess. They can play into your prep. They can stumble into winning line without knowing that it's winning. I don't know if that can really be considered luck, though. Maybe in the course of one game or something. But in the long run, those factors all even out. Or maybe in better terms, like everyone has equal, chance of that sort of thing happening. I would say the only luck in chess comes from the external factors like pairings, life circumstances, maybe. Take, and then I can also just promote here. I'll probably take first. I don't mind if he takes this one, because I feel like that pawn is quite strong. Now here first, or... Nah, let's promote. Maybe I could have thrown in bishop takes f4. Who knows? One clearly lucky situation is when you blunder, but you have a counter tactic. Yeah, but is that even luck? I mean, if that's the case, like objectively, you still played a fine move. I had rook takes d4 there. Gotta watch my time. The poet is pressuring me on the clock. Okay, now I'm winning. And I'm going to trade on g7 to make this real clean. We're going to do this. Hoover all the pieces off. Keep it simple. Okay. And 64 square did not test my mouse speed, which has been dubious of late. But all right. Thank you, 64 square poet. I have a feeling you might have been okay had you gone after that c7 pawn a little bit earlier. Wouldn't recommend f5. I think f5 is dubious. Usually black plays c6 here. Starts trying to immediately attack that pawn. I have a feeling around here. Okay, the engine thinks take f5 or take b7 and then bishop e3. Interesting. It just wants to give that pawn. So I saw this line, and I thought black gets the pawn back. But now it likes you guys' h4 move with the idea of knight g5. So maybe that's a possible iteration of this, although they can take the knight. But I guess it likes the two bishops here. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for the game. 64 square poet. Tough one. Hey, looks like the analysis gave us both a pretty clean bill of health here. I had a 25 average centi pawn loss. You had a 56. One mistake, one blunder. But yeah, I think the f5 move in general, that's just a little too risky. Thanks for the game. Who's up next here? All right, silent log. Fix my webcam for a second. There we go. Okay. How about a Danish Gambit this time? That should be fun. Tobinator says, I think in tournaments you can definitely get lucky / unlucky. Sometimes people always blunder against you. Sometimes people play way above their rating. Yeah, and I guess a lot of this is kind of semantics as well, like how you define luck. But at least in chess, we're competing in an atmosphere where luck is at a very low level relative to other competitive activities. Yeah, Danish. Let's see what happens here. E5, attack the knight. Hello, 9Aka. Yeah, it's usually Sundays. Tends to be Sundays where I do Lichess plays. That can vary, though, depending upon my schedule and also when, like, No Joke Chess is available. The main mod who sets this up. Okay, we're going to take and then play Rook E1. But Sundays, 1:30 p.m. U.S. Central Time tends to be the time. Ooh, can I go bombs away here? Take, and try to win the queen? There is King E7, though, unfortunately for me. So F4 was my main idea here. I think I'm just going to do that. Queen H5 also seems pretty tricky, but probably unsound. I really want to try it, though. Nah, we're going to we're going to take the sure thing, F4. What do I think about Nepo saying he was unlucky in game 9? I thought it was strange, says Jay Hooby. What did he say exactly? I did see one interview where it was a little bit odd, like Nepo was kind of criticizing Magnus's opening prep and saying that Magnus wasn't really trying for a whole lot. But I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, Jay Hubie. He said the blunder he made was unlucky. Which blunder was that? All right, let's take this one. Then I'm going to take the knight. Looking for queen h5. Yeah, let's play it first before deciding if I want to take on d6. Oh, right. So playing c6. Uh-huh. Yeah, that was probably the principal example of recklessness and lack of sense of danger in the second half of this match by Nepo, right? I think that move and also the g3 move that he played in the final game. Two pretty clear examples. Also, even in that game where he played the Petrov, he played the h5, king f8 line. Like, he just played that one in quite risky fashion and paid the price. So basically, Nepo's argument was that Magnus being able to have c6 in that position was some form of luck. I don't know. I guess I don't really see it that way. It just seems like, it is. I would take it at face value, personally. Self-induced error. And the fact that his position was better just means that he was not attentive enough at that moment. Because there's very few positions in chess, unless your opponent's playing exclusively for a draw or has no material left to fight with, where the opponent isn't going to have some sort of resource if you really mess up. So I guess I'd have to know exactly what he said or have to look at that interview myself. But there's always, always, always. I have a windmill situation here, by the way, in two different ways. Probably the way to win is just check here and then get the other rook in. Let's play this one because the rook does not have to travel as far as if I go to g4 or g3. Yeah, and then get this other rook in, and this will be mate. Oh, like the severity of the blunder being so devastating? Thank you, Silent Log, for the game. So, Silent Log, yeah, the e5 move is an issue here. h6 is a little bit too slow. I know you probably played that to stop knight g5, but you don't want to allow e5 with the tempo on the knight. That creates even further problems for you. One thing, just as practical advice to you guys, when you're declining a gambit like this in e4, e5, d5 is a move that you should remember. d5 tends to be like the stone cold equalizer here. And we can see it in the database too. If black plays that at master level, they're scoring very, very well. It's similar to like in the c3 Sicilian, for instance. When white goes c3, denying the knight this square, d5 kind of gains in value because after takes and takes, this is basically an improved Scandinavian defense where white can't play knight c3. So if you want to draw a parallel to that, you can kind of think of it that way. Personally, that's what I tend to play here on the rare occasions I've faced this Danish Gambit. So thank you for the game, Silent Log. Oh, we got another juicer. Please don't be like the first juicer. Even though the first juicer seemed pretty nice. I think Juicer Carlson's legit, though. A lot of games. Yep. All right, I'll play the advanced variation. Let's see how this shakes out. Oh, this line is fun. This is always a fun variation. E6. I was just looking at this variation today with a student. Good attacking idea here. Block up that black position. And when black takes, I'm going to play bishop d3 and try to trade this off. Ooh, f6. Exceedingly risky, letting this pawn survive. I mean, I think bishop d3 is nearly winning on the spot. I mean, I'm vaguely thinking about this too, but no, I think we just stick to the script. There is, in fairness, a possible defense here with queen d6. Wow. Really walling off that bishop. Look at these pieces. How's black going to get those pieces out? This looks kind of comical, actually. Okay, h5. Once again, I'm looking at that move. Almost feel there's something better here, but I don't know. Even something a little slower, like here, but I do got to watch e6. I don't want e6 to drop off. That is the key ingredient. I could play f4, f5, another option. Knight e2 to f4 seems pretty legit as well. I mean, again, h5 is probably just the most direct move, but I don't know if there takes if I actually even want to trade bishops there. It's one of these positions, although my position is incredibly good, I still want to be accurate. So I'm going to go here. I'm just going to put a stop to queen d6 altogether. Exactly, Tarosky. Or Truasky. Or Sai. So many tempting options, indeed. John, what was it like coaching Andrew Tang? It was awesome. Yeah, worked with him for 2-3 years. And he had other coaches at the time I worked with him. So it was nice, though, because obviously working with someone that motivated and sharp, who does everything that you ask, any sort of homework I assign him, looking into certain openings, it's really awesome. And he's gone on to achieve great things. I don't think I care about this pawn. Let's just develop. Okay, c5. All right, now let's go after this pawn. Let's see what he's going to do about that. Oh, that's how he's going to win that. All right. Oh, I missed that, but we'll still look to attack here. Okay, now I'm forced to move this back, which I'm not thrilled about. He's taking all my pawns. That would have been better there, but what can you do? I know my time situation is questionable. I think I still have a good position, even after all these mistakes. This situation is so bad. That could change, though. I mean, black could break out here. You never know. Oh, okay. Tafaska says, Magnus's comment, you don't expect to basically win a piece from nothing. What can I say? It's also a bit of bad luck that he doesn't have any try that gives him any chances. I think that absurdly actually covers it pretty nicely. Yeah, I can see why he said that. Wait, here? I'll just win the queen. Because the situation after the bishop was trapped was absolutely lost for white. Like, no counterplay. So, yeah, again, it's kind of a semantics thing if you consider that bad luck. I might have had mate in one there, but I didn't see it. Okay, check. This should be mate coming up. Queen d5. Protected by this. Okay, thank you, Juicer Carlson. Sneaky idea, queen b6. That's how you got at the pawn. Queen b6, c5. I misinterpreted c5. I thought you were trying to go after d4, but in fact, you were going over here. Yeah, and after that, the engine still likes white, but maybe not. Knight c6. And it's close, at least. What's the best way to play this? So, okay, so for you, Juicer Carlson, after g4, the main move is bishop d7 if you're going to play down this line, to keep e6 better guarded and to be able to take with the bishop, if I ever push that. And after here, I've only really ever seen people take this pawn. Maybe occasionally someone has done this or tried to ignore the attack, but I don't think this is great. I mean, here you could play bishop d6. That's interesting. Queen d6, rather. It actually, therefore, suggests different pawn moves on my part. G5 even. H5 or G5, interesting. This is the position where I spent all this time, and I didn't really come up with anything good. F4, best move. I guess to do this and then play F5. And again, try to play against all of these pieces. If something like this happens, Black is totally stuck on that side of the board. This did briefly cross my mind, but I was like, I shouldn't allow a check on G3, but the engine's contention is that this scarcely matters. All right. Well, thank you for the game. Yeah, my pleasure, Filch, by the way, on YouTube. Okay, Frebe. Let's play D4 in this game. Thank you, David Robbins, for the game. Yep. Hello, Alex Chu, by the way. Yes, I will try to come back to the Charlotte Chess Center soon. Absolutely. Any chance we'll get to see climbing the rating ladder soon? Yeah, I do plan to make some of those videos again in the near future. Thanks for your interest in it. Okay, so this line, this symmetrical variation, kind of risky for Black. Knight F6. I feel like I should take on C5 here, so I'll do that. How likely is it that I will get a chance to play you? Well, I have 50 plus challenges in the queue, so statistically, not super likely. However, I will say that people who have showed up to repeated Lichess plays, or even if you throw this on in the background or just challenge me early, most always do get a game eventually. But it might take a stream or two. So, if you're just hanging by your computer today, feel free to throw me a challenge. Are you guys excited for the World Blitz and Rapid? I'm pretty pumped for that. FIDE takes a lot of flack, and FIDE has its flaws. But I do want to give FIDE props for coming through, and the Polish Federation as well, for finding a venue after they couldn't hold the event in Kazakhstan. They did come through with that. So that's cool that event will be going on. Yeah, and I think Magnus is super motivated to basically have the triple crown, right? The Classical World Championship and then the Blitz and Rapid World Championship too. He wants that. Who was it last time? I think it was Dubov who won the Rapid portion, right? Did Magnus win Blitz and Dubov won the Rapid in the last event that was held? Which was before the pandemic, correct? Mm-hmm. Right, Richter's neighbor. Mm-hmm. Take this pawn. That was a double attack right here. It was probably December of 2019. Okay. Let's get this out. Are Hikaru and Ali Reza playing? I don't know. I would suspect Ali Reza is. Hikaru, I'm not sure. Oh, Hikaru is playing. Great. That'll be awesome to see him in the mix. Fantastic. Yeah, he's going to be a contender. Yeah, that's going to be a premier event to watch. And you guys are going to get to watch it over the holidays too, right? It's going to be pretty awesome. It gets in between Christmas and New Year's, if I'm not mistaken. Do I want this trade? Even though it gives him double isolated pawns, it kind of strands my knight out there a little bit. So I think I might go here. There's knight b4, but I don't think I'm greatly worried about that. Nor am I worried about bishop b4. I'm cool with my king chilling in the center. So that will be fine. Queens are off the board. If the queens have been exchanged in a given position, generally your king has an easier time in the middle of the board. It's safer. Okay, and my opponent's in time pressure too, in addition to being down a pawn, and they might be going down another pawn somewhere. Yeah, I can take on e5, I can take c6, and then take on e5. Let's take on e5 right away. There is knight d4, but I can just step here. This rook is defended. Looks like Carlsen won both in 2019. Oh, really? I thought he only won one event. Dubov won the other one. Only won one event. All right, check. Probably the easiest way to win. Go take this next. And then if he takes back, I take f7 and win the knight. Okay. Frebe, thank you for the game. This symmetrical line with c5. Pretty risky. I think maybe you could play this every once in a while as a surprise weapon, but if white remembers to play c takes d5 and fight to keep the extra pawn or fight to inconvenience black, because you can also play queen takes d5, but then there's knight c3, and if black takes here, white can play knight c3 with tempo on the queen, because this would hang the queen. Black's really, really fighting for equality here, and probably unsuccessfully so. Oh, Dubov won in 2018. Oh, Magnus had all three in 2019? You know, it's crazy. Magnus is so dominant, I don't even remember that. Right? Magnus has reached this level where his dominance is so undisputed and so routine that you're not surprised by it anymore. Wow. So yeah, he does currently hold all three, doesn't he? And he's going to be looking to follow that up. Retain them all. Unreal. Okay, Claubain, good luck. This is our last game, Claubain. Looks like it was close. I only vaguely remember that game. Okay, let's play e6. Please somebody dethrone him. No, I want to see how long this can go and how long Magnus can stay motivated. With the rise of Ali Reza, and I think Magnus said something to this effect, that is going to be more of a motivating factor than anything else external from Magnus. He has tremendous internal motivation. We know that. But I think with Ali Reza qualifying for the candidates in the Grand Swiss and then having that fantastic European team championship where he got over 2,800, Magnus knows this is the young gun who's clearly asserted himself as coming for Magnus's title. And I think Magnus welcomes that challenge. Right. He had an interview recently to that effect that he said that was literally a inspirational thing to watch Ali Reza achieve that motivating thing for Magnus. It's pretty cool. Indeed. Good times ahead. I agree, Spite Check. Which one should I do here? This is an interesting one. I feel like knight d5 is just going to go here. So I want to throw a little curveball. Let's throw a little curveball. Let's see if he goes bishop d2 here, and then I might play bishop c5 and say, hey, what about your f2 square? What do you think about that? Oh, just castles. Okay. Well, I should probably be happy about the dark square bishop, so I'm going to take that. I mean, maybe he'll stick the knight on e4. That's a possibility, but all right, let's just develop. This looks more like a Taimanov or something now than a Khan. Yeah, and I probably should castle this way. I know he might stick the knight in here, but that's okay. We'll take. Here now? Mate alert. Also threat here, or maybe this. Ooh. All right, threat. Will Ali Reza manage to win the next candidates? Yeah, remains to be seen, right? It'll be interesting. All right, so I think my opponent is missing that I have this move. I'm just trying to anticipate how the game might go after that, or if I want to play something different. I don't think so. I think this is just a good idea. Can't take it. He's probably going to bail this direction. And I can win another pawn, although I will lose d7 at the end of that line. So I'm thinking if I can keep more material on board and play for an attack, I could definitely just back the knight out. There's also b4 perhaps, although he might be able to just take here if I do that. I think I'm going to keep this knight. I'm going to try to retain this as an attacking unit. Controversial decision, might not be good, but let's see what happens. And now either this or this. Let's do this one. Really looking to create some further problems towards the king. I'm not too worried about this pawn. You can have it. Thing is, I don't really know if there's that distinctive a threat here. I don't think rook takes c3 is a threat, for instance, because you can take it with the queen and then bail. So he's just going to ignore. All right, let's put the bishop here. It definitely looks uncomfortable for white, though, for sure. I think my king is safe enough. Yeah, Ali Reza, someone was saying, Duffman was saying maybe he's too young. Maybe his inexperience will show at the candidates. Hard to say. There's still a lot of time between now and the candidates happening. And I think Ali Reza's matured a lot in the past couple years, even without too many OTB events taking place. Okay, is it time to tee off here or maybe play d4? Okay, I'm going to do something. This is for style points only. I'm going to give that caveat. This is style points only. Oh, no, it doesn't work. The bishop defends c2. All right, it still might be an okay move, but I wanted to play queen takes d4, queen a1, and then take. But a little problem there. Yeah, I mean, I can also take here and just go after the rook, although now it doesn't work as well, so let's go rook c4. Okay. Doubling and threatening this. My opponent has no time, but I was looking bleak anyways. Okay, thank you for the game. Klabene. F4 this early, I don't think is that great an approach against the Khan because there's not a whole lot to attack yet. Black hasn't committed the knight to f6. So probably not the strongest line. As played, you're probably okay. Castling surprised me a little bit. I thought you would move the bishop, maybe bishop g1, then try for h3. Yeah, it looks like this is better for black. Perhaps you can defend, though. Queen d2. Give the a-pawn. That's not an easy determination to make, though. Oh, and the engine says I should take here. Queen takes, take this. And it says, probably I'm just winning this endgame, which makes sense. This pawn's probably, one of these two pawns is a goner. All right, thank you for the game. Blindfolded. Good luck. When is chessable getting fixed? Let's play e5. Is chessable down right now? I wasn't even aware. All right, Giouco Piano, mainline stuff. C3 or D3. I don't mind if white plays D4. I'm fairly familiar with this theory. All right, I'm going to play A6 and bishop A7. We're going to go with the early retreat of the bishop. I like to do that in this line. That's how I learned to play this variation. Just get the bishop out of the way so D4 doesn't come with tempo. But there's an enormous amount of theory in this line these days. All right, should I do the trendy thing, which is they play H3, you go H6, G5, and you try to attack? I see a lot of these ambitious players with the black pieces go for this approach. Probably some of you have done that too. Then you break, and you have 2 points of contact, trying to open things up. All right, now which way do I take? Probably with the knight is most consistent. Attacking f2. Now, white can guard that, of course, like knight e3 is probably logical, but I could see how black starts generating pressure. Queen f6. If white takes on g4, the bishop comes here. My king is looking pretty snug if I get over to the queen side. So let's do that. I think I have to worry about knight d5 because that's a threat. This attack has never worked for me. It is definitely risky, I think, even when white has played h3. But my just total neophyte understanding of this is that this idea is really only justified if white has committed to our early h3 and black has not castled, because that's what gives you the hook when the pawn hits g4. But yeah, I can see why it's maybe misfired for you, because I think even in these circumstances, the engine, for instance, may not be like that impressed. Okay, rook e2. That's logical because that does threaten this knight d5 move in a lot of cases. So let me think how I want to deal with that. Rook g8 seems interesting to actually try for something like queen takes f3 thereafter, but it's probably unsound. Maybe knight e7 or just bishop e6. Let's go bishop e6. If he takes, I'm going to take here and guard that. Efficient. Cooper asks, do you enjoy the Caro-Kann as black or mostly Scandi with e4? I have played a little Caro-Kann. Yeah, I enjoy the Caro as well. Thing about the Caro is you are opening up yourself to way more theory than in the Scandi. Because in the Scandi, after e4, d5, white almost always takes on d5. You know, occasionally you see e5 or knight c3, but they almost always take. And that instantly like narrows the amount of lines that you have to look at. Whereas in the Caro, if you consider the basic position after e4, c6, d4, d5, as black, you have to be ready for knight c3 and knight d2. Thank you, King's Crusher, for the raid, by the way. Appreciate it, Triffin. Thank you to King's Crusher, and greetings to all of King's Crusher's viewers. So, yeah, after e4, c6, d4, d5, you got to be ready for knight d2, knight c3. You got to be ready for the advanced variation, e5. And you also have to be ready for the capture on d5, and even stuff like the fantasy variation, which is f3. So, you know, that's not unusual for major openings, but to me, that's the biggest difference. The Scandi sometimes like streamlines the amount of theory you need to know and the structures that you can expect to get. So it's perhaps more of a practical weapon than the Caro-Kann is in faster games in particular. Okay, let's take here. And if he takes here, I can actually take here, was my thinking. So let's threaten mate. That's usually a good idea. All right, all right. Now, I have a feeling white is okay in this position, but their time is not okay. And I've got this guarded, so that's convenient. Oh, he's going to try to take here. That's a funny trade. That's how we swap the queens. Yeah, and this endgame is equal probably, but I think he's going to lose on time. Let's do this. Gain a little space. Go after this pawn. That pawn is a weakness now. Oh, and he blundered a fork. But again, no time. If he was playing this game blindfolded, that was impressive. Thank you for the game. Blindfolded. Or blindfold deed. It is hard to contain the black initiative here. I can see why you burned some time kind of thinking about it. I feel like you played completely fine. I don't know. I can't even offer too many improvements over what you did. I think it was all right. It just took a while to get there. Probably somewhere around here, the engine will point out some minor thing you can do better. For me, too. Does not like bishop e6 very much for me here. And it doesn't like bishop e3. Says you or knight e3 says you should go bishop e3 instead, or d4. Interesting. This is a messy type of equality for sure, so don't be mistaken here. Even though the engine is showing 0.0, very messy position, unbalanced position. Yeah, I agree, Bakus. Absolutely. It says maybe you should go queen b3 one move earlier, or a couple moves earlier than you did. All right, thank you for the game. Unsound sack, then mate is up next. Good luck. Hopefully they're there. There is a module where you can play blindfolded seamlessly on Lichess. I've seen Eric Rosen and Grandmaster Gary Shankar, who's actually an FM, but he goes by Grandmaster Gary. Unsound mate, are you there? Oh, I was about to click the abort button. Okay, let's play d6. Good luck. And all right, I'll play knight f6. I might go for this old Indian setup, knight bd7 with an eye towards this early on. And if knight f3, maybe knight h5. I kind of like this approach, tracking down the dark square bishop. Someone was asking if I aspire to be a GM like Levy. I think most all IMs aspire to be GMs, for sure. But only if they put in the sufficient work and, they've gone through the proper steps to try to make a proper run at the title. Okay, this is an interesting reply. So trying to either save the bishop or if takes, take here. Definitely an interesting approach. I think I should go here now. And then they could continue this chain of attacks. They could go to bishop e2. Yeah, let's fianchetto now. I'm going to leave this bishop for the moment. We'll see if white goes bishop e2. They do. Let's take that. Bishop f5. Got the two bishops howling down the board here. d5 maybe, or c6. Let's play c6. Block that bishop. I know, unsound sack then mate, and they played the London system. So no unsound sack yet. Yeah, the opponents are actually random. Yes. I have an accept random challenge button. I like this pair of bishops here. It kind of reminds me of the Evergreen game. In the Evergreen game, which Black lost, Black had the two bishops on, I think it was b6 and b7. So hopefully I don't repeat that. But it sort of reminds me of that formation. I might maneuver this knight. I'm thinking about here, maybe even getting the knight all the way to e6 or something. This position looks good for Black. I'm definitely happy with the outcome of the opening here. GT98 says, can a 2250 rapid player on Lichess become an NM? Yeah, absolutely. I would say that's below NM level in general, but maybe not by much. It's hard to say. If you've never played tournaments before, that's an excellent level. All right, aggressive move there. So maybe this is where the unsound sacks start, because now he's going to have to give something up here. I have a feeling he's going to play e6. No. Knight c4 instead. That doesn't seem like a great move, though. Check, maybe? And now he's got to defend this knight, so probably there. And what happens if I just take? Get rid of that pawn. Do I think Ali Reza will cross 2900 Classic? Remains to be seen. I'd say Magnus has a far better shot of it than Ali Reza does at the moment. But you never know, right? Check. Let's throw the check in, and then I can play here and go after f2. He can go queen e2 and defend, but I feel like it's going to cost him several tempi to get coordinated here. And the knight is definitely annoying on d3. I'll probably castle queenside if he plays queen e2. Unless my queen's in danger. Is b4 a threat here? Kind of. b4, queen b5, a4. It's a little uncomfortable. I mean, I could play a5, but that doesn't quite seem right here. It's hard to believe b4 is actually a threat. But I don't have a lot of squares for that queen. I do have an idea, though. All right, I'm going to castle. We're going to dare him to play b4. I have a plan. This is the operation. And then after this, I can either take on c3 or I can play b5. b5 was the move I had in mind, so let's just go for it. So he can't stay guarding that knight on d2. Magnus has an old quote that playing against a computer is like playing against a stupid person. Does he feel that way today? I'm curious about what context that quote was in, or what he meant by that. Let's take like this. Let's get the king up. All right. Thanks for the game, Unsound Sack. So I think e5 in particular was probably not a great move, although honestly, black does look pretty good here. You have trouble keeping all the pawns together. Maybe that's why you went for it. So probably got to rethink that opening strategy a little bit. I would suspect, in fact, like e4 itself is not a great move. But this arrangement already looks a little suspect to me. I would say the engine's probably going to give this a quarter pawn to a half pawn advantage for black. Even more, evidently. So it doesn't really like this. If you guys know your opponent's going to play the London system, d6 is a pretty good move on move one because you immediately blunt that diagonal that the bishop is bound for. And opponents who mechanically play the London could potentially be regretting the fact that their bishop's there. So you might consider this variation, going after the bishop. And note the timing of this. So e3, knight bd7. One of the main ideas for black is to go e5. And when white plays knight f3, stopping e5, we're playing knight h5, so the queen can no longer guard that square because the knight's blocking, and we're hunting down that dark square bishop. e5 is also a good move if white pre-moves. This is Malcolm. Yeah, that's true. It's hard to argue with that if we know white's going to pre-move. This is Jonathan Schron's pet line. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like this. I play the old Indian every once in a while. So d4, d6, and going for this setup. And it fits well nicely when they play the London, which a lot of people do. For the record, I think e4 is white's best move here, but then they have to be willing to play the Pirts. Okay, thank you for the game, Unsound. Voivoda Milos. Voivoda Milos, good luck. What have I not played yet? Well, we were talking about Caro-Kann, so let's play that. A lot of people take here. Take or push tends to be like the dominant reaction at the lower levels, but you can always think about developing knight c3 and defending the pawn. But most people at lower levels do not like pawn tension, so they prefer to just remove the tension ASAP. So you'll see, if you play Caro, sub 1600, you'll see this position a lot. All right, bishop b5. I'm just going to go bishop d7. Might be a little passive, but it takes the sting out of knight e5. I like your honesty, Hoa. They say, that's true, I'm a 1400 and I insist on taking pawns because it stresses me out. And I insta-take pawns because it stresses me out. Yeah. Yeah, therefore, if you want to address that, you should intentionally try to play positions where you're keeping the tension, especially in the center, where you're not immediately just chopping that pawn off or advancing. Often playing a move to develop and defend is a good idea. Like exposure therapy, you know? If you have a huge fear of something in life, one of the best things you can do over time is gradually expose yourself to that. And over time, it will diminish the anxiety if you do it in a smart way. It'll reduce the anxiety to the stimuli. Who will win the Blitz World Championship? Well, I think our consensus opinion is Magnus right now for both events. Unless you fear ionizing radiation. Yeah, if it's something like radiation, I might not be able to help you. Did Nepo say if he's going to play or not? I don't know if he committed to playing or not playing. Oh, and that is a piece. Picked up a minor piece. It's Blitz and Rapid. Yeah, there's no bullet championship. Unfortunately for us spectators. Someone did actually ask Magnus at one of the press conferences in this World Championship what he thought about like a over-the-board bullet World Championship. And he basically said, you know, let's be honest, everyone's thinking, I'll say what everyone would be thinking, that the logistics of it are just too much to overcome, knocking down pieces with 1 minute on your clock or whatever. It would be cool to see a bullet championship, but esports style, where all of the players were in the same arena, kind of like they were doing in the Meltwater Tour or the Champions Tour. In the final. Don't you guys think? That would be something I'd love to watch. Let's play for E5. Nepo said they need to glue the pieces on the board. Now, White has to be careful here. Okay, they retreated the rook to the correct square. They got to keep the queen guarding. Let's go knight e4. And I'm going to try to sink this knight into c3. I want to see Nepo Carlsen in Counter-Strike. Oof. I don't know that there would be an FPS game that Magnus would be a favorite over Jan with his Dota experience. I would doubt it. Magnus is pretty fast. I will give him that. I mean, his online bullet speed is impressive, but I don't know that Magnus is a gamer. I don't think he is. Yeah, Nepo was a top-level Dota player. Probably still is to some degree. Surprising, right? Fork. Okay, thank you, Milos. So, things fell apart after you lost that pawn on d4. I think you're still okay in this position. Maybe you should have retreated the bishop to e3. Although perhaps you went to d2 just because it does take some sting out of a bishop e4 move. My issue with White's position here broadly is that White doesn't have a whole lot of pawn play. Black's got the 2 versus the 1 in the center. And you do got the A pawn, but I think Black's position is a bit more robust than White's is. So, as I was saying in the game, maybe you can consider some different lines where you're not immediately taking and resolving the tension. Maybe you play a move like knight c3, which is the 2 knights variation, where you're open to a more fluid style of play. Thanks for the game. Okay, Hans. Let's play b3, move 1. The Nimzo Larsen. Oh, yeah, and I should qualify. I don't know what level Nepo was in. I've just heard he played Dota at a very high level. I don't think he was like close to world champion or anything, but maybe. I'd be curious, relatively speaking, if someone can frame it for us, what Nepo's level in Dota was. John, did you watch Fabi cursing in World Championship commentary? Yeah, in that ad they did, that funny ad. I got a kick out of that. That was cool. He was semi-pro at Dota 1. Not much money in it back then. 2005 to 2006. Wow. Yeah, long time ago. I did beat Fabi in an online game. It's on my channel. Yeah. He's the highest rated guy I've beaten across any time control or format, for sure. His username, it was on the ICC, the Internet Chess Club. His username was Adaptation. Okay, this usually means they want to go F6. So let me think. Probably going to take that bishop, but let's go here first. I don't see any traps or anything like that, so yeah, let's take this bishop, and I think I'm going to put the queen here, which discourages e5 for the time being. It's kind of an annoying position for black to play, because you could think of this as a reverse Nimzo Indian type of position. Okay, he's defending this, so if I'm reading my opponent, I think he wants e5. I think he wants that, so I'm trying to trap him somehow. Not exactly seeing how I do that, but knight f3 makes sense. Let's just play this. Further frustrates e5. Slight downside of this move is that I lose some control over c4, so I got to watch him advancing here. Yep. Yeah, I played Yasser on ICC. Yep. I have some games against him on my channel. I did beat him before. I would say he was roughly NM, FM level at Dota in the sense that he was semi-pro, but there's pretty big gulf in the competitive tiers between semi-pro to actual pro even back then. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for putting that into perspective for us. He really wants e5. I could try to continue putting a stop to it, but I don't know. Don't know that it's worth it. Let's just look to double up the rooks. Okay. Stop the A-pawn. Nice stuff, man. What was Yasser's handle on ICC? It was OM. OM. Ooh, now F5. He's changing it up. Okay, so now this square is a weakness for sure. I should probably hop in there. Okay, now the nature of the game is going to change a little bit. He might go knight f6. Yup. I'm clinging to some sort of edge here. It's not much, though. Probably need to get this out of the way. The knight could come to g4. All right, let's get the queen working somewhere. I don't know why he played queen d7. I'm going to try to induce d4. Don't mind if black plays that, because their structure becomes more fragile. I have a feeling that Magnus will play on Lichess tomorrow. Oh, yeah, speaking of that, a student of mine said Magnus had revealed that he was kind of sick before the World Championship, like a week or two beforehand, maybe. And so he was just playing on Lichess a lot, I guess, to kill some time. Because we saw that burst of days, multiple days, where he was playing a lot of games. Playing long matches, too. Okay, now I can win a pawn if I want. But let me think about the best way to do this. Because he's going to get some counterplay. Okay. I'm going to play h3 first. This move may not be necessary, because if he takes, I still would be hitting the knight. Excuse me. But I think the trade is better this way, because I don't give him the C file to work with. That's a nice aspect to this. Ooh, and then I picked this pawn off. If I had taken on d5, he would have taken, and he would have had the file at least. But now there's a plethora of weak pawns here. And I'm already up a couple pawns. Take. Oh no, I blundered knight d7. All right, let's just continue advancing here. Go here. I'm up a cajillion pawns. Okay. Thank you for the game, Hans. Yeah, these positions are always a little bit tricky for black to play. I actually think one of your best plans in a position of this type might be to play c4 somewhere. I don't know if the timing ever would have worked well for you, but c4 to try to offload your doubled pawns. Even if you temporarily lost one of the pawns, let's just say hypothetically, something like that. I have a bunch of weaknesses. I would prefer to keep my pawns nice and orderly. So, truthfully, I don't even recommend getting into this structure in the first place. Like a6, I think is a bit of a mistake. The engine even agrees. Because it's possible I would take here anyways to double your pawns up, even without you playing a6. So, probably a move like bishop d7 is fundamentally a bit better. Hans Niemann? Yes, I was just playing against Hans Niemann. But thank you for the game. Let's keep going here. Oh, Malcolm. Here we go. Good luck, Malcolm. We played 4 games. Malcolm, you're in danger of being semi-adopted. Oh, and you're playing the Scandi too. You're a bold man. All right, let's see what you got. You are bold, sir. Now, bishop g4 is a classic blunder, but Malcolm has studied my material. Maybe he studied my chessable course. He knows what to do. a6. I'm going to play tricky. Once again, I'm challenging him. Thoughts on Fabi's winning chances at the candidates? Ooh, it's real interesting right now. I don't quite know how to assess the chances of the various candidates. I would say Ali Reza and Fabi have the best chance, but quite early, right? Like there's many months. When is the candidates exactly? It's like middle of 2020 or 2020. We're actually going back in time to play the candidates. 2022. Trusai says March, and then Vic Pierce says June. At least she didn't say 2020. All right, let's castle this way. We're going to make this interesting. No date yet? Okay. Yeah, I would bet probably spring or summer. And I would estimate that the next world championship probably takes place, I don't know, maybe January of 2023. It doesn't seem like it would happen in December of next year for some reason. That feels a little bit too close. Maybe January or February. These things take time to organize. Fide said 2022 or 2023. Yeah, makes sense. Should I take here? Let's do it. This is always an interesting... Oh, he takes with the king. That is bold. He insta-took with the king. You're really going to run your king out here, Malcolm? Back to the center? I was totally thinking you were going to take with rook. Wow. Malcolm is bold, man. Like, he's just... Okay, remember, you cannot castle anymore, Malcolm. Even if you get your queen out of the way, you can't castle queenside. There's going to be a little buzz if you try to do that. So I got 2 pawns for the piece. That king is in the middle. It's not over by any means, though. Yeah, that hits my queen. He can try to eliminate that light square bishop. That would actually help quite a bit, so maybe I should have prevented that. All right, I back off. I probably should have played d4 or maybe bishop e3 because this probably eases his defensive task a little bit. Queen d7 now, maybe. I'll play queen g3 most likely. he could actually try to go back to g8. That's probably the best plan. Yeah. He might try to do it. Okay, I can do this. Don't tell Malcolm. Don't tell Malcolm what the plan is. Oh, he fell for it. I'm sorry. I had to do that to you, Malcolm. The king can get back to G8, but at great cost. Yeah, I think rook e6 is good. If not for rook e6, black might have been fine there. Maybe even better. Certainly if the king gets back to g8 safely and the material situation hasn't changed, I think black would be totally okay. Wow, you are really a material grubber. This is like extreme levels of greed, Malcolm. I mean, I'm a greedy player myself, but this is surpassing even my levels of greed. Ooh, and we get a nice little mate there. Kind of a Balestra mate. Queen and bishop working together. Okay, thank you for the game, Malcolm. Let's check real quick. I think you got to take with the rook on f7. Survey says yes, although king takes is not that bad. Interesting, and it says I should... No, it can now change its mind. But okay, rook takes f7. I was thinking take here, and this is going to be awkward for you. But I'm not surprised that the engine likes black here. It can be speculative. And a rook and 2 pawns for 2 minor pieces, because I can always take here and get 2. Let's just say I do it right away, even though I should drag it out. When the minor pieces are active and the king for the side with the minor piece is relatively safe, even the 2 pawns, even though nominally white is up a point of material, white's a long way from being able to use these pawns. They're not advanced, really. So you get a feel for this over time, but my main point is the minor pieces often are better than the rook and 2 pawns. Certainly better than the rook and 1 pawn in most circumstances. I thought king e8 was supposed to be okay, maybe mixed up lines. What do you mean? You say that like this is theory. I don't think this is theory, Malcolm, but maybe. No games found. Unless you're following some obscure Lichess theory here. In fairness to you, there are 5 games that have reached this position. We're following Chemmel Chess versus Universe 64. Ah, yes, that famous bullet game from 2016. I recall that one fondly. That was a groundbreaking game in this particular theoretical line. It really changed the evaluation. Set many a benchmark. Yeah, and white has played knight takes f7 here twice. But, interestingly, this points to the robustness of the Scandinavian, right? Black is better, according to the engine, in this position. Despite white's aggressive position, let me flip this around. Black is standing firm here. Black is better, daring white to take. And if Malcolm had taken with rook, he might have been able to refute my attack. As played, king e8. Well, look at this. Even this is equal. You would not be able to pay me to play this, but look at this. This is why chess is surprising. After knight c5, I was mentioning, maybe black's fine. The engine says black's better than fine. Black is winning here. I feel like Maurice Ashley. Black is better than fine. The engines are saying white is winning. White is dead winning. This game is over, Red Rover. Let's go home. Play a few more moves. Let's go home. All right. So basically, I should have prevented knight c5. Shout out to Maurice. Bishop e3. Yeah. Bishop e3 better. Control the c5 square. Important. And then black is still okay, but they need to be very careful. All right. Thanks for the game, Malcolm. Good luck, Gwendol. Benno Plusty says, John is so mean. Yeah, shout out to the YouTube viewers. Haven't forgot about you guys. Benno says, Malcolm Fearless Tucker. Yeah. Are you there, Gwendol? Give her a customary knock. Are you there? Oh, that worked. Okay. Let's play at Alapin this time. So we have this improved Scandi, if you want to think of it that way. All right. Normal stuff here. Alapin, yes. You guys know who the chief architect, if you will, of the Alapin Sicilian, historically speaking? What grandmaster? He wrote a book on it. He passed away a couple years ago, unfortunately. Okay, rook c1 or queen, probably queen c2 is better here. Yes, Yevgeny Sveshnikov, who made a lot of contributions to opening theory, right? Has a full mainline, a highly respected mainline named after him, the Sveshnikov variation. Yes, Yevgeny Sveshnikov wrote a book on the c3 Sicilian, and his premise is very interesting. He argued that the c3 Sicilian was White's best try for an advantage against the Sicilian. He was highly critical of the open Sicilian, which is knight f3 followed by d4. He didn't think that the open Sicilian was a great try for an advantage at all for White, and hence like his investigation of the Sveshnikov. So really interesting grandmaster, because most grandmasters do not share that opinion. They willingly go for the open Sicilian for the most part. It's still very much the main line. That said, the Rosslimo has gained some traction as well, if we're talking about the knight c6 lines in particular. Anton says, I can see why Sveshnikov thought that, especially before the age of computers. Yeah, it does make fundamental sense. Even Bent Larson said that you can consider the open Sicilian to be, quote, a cheap trick. Watch the hanging knight here, Gwendol. Watch it. Yep. Now, I wonder if Gwendol will take here. It might be possible to take that pawn. Looks dangerous with the pin. Ooh, Gwendol's going to try. Okay. But yeah, Bent Larson said the open Sicilian can be considered a cheap trick because you're giving up a center pawn for a flank pawn as White with d4, allowing c takes d4. And Larson's thesis was that if you don't checkmate the opponent, you're going to be, if your attack doesn't succeed in the opening and early middle game, you're probably going to be in a lot of worse middle games or end games. Exactly, Duffman. So I really like studying chess players of the past who had interesting, like, how shall I say, differing views, contrarian views, according to what was thought at the time, or what we even think now. And those are a couple GMs, Larson, Sveshnikov, that really come to mind in that sense. I highly recommend picking up a biography of Larson's games, by the way, if you at all like chess history, because he had some fascinating games and insights into the game and just a unique way of looking at chess. I feel like my opponent might blunder rook d8 at some point in some capacity, but I'm not sure how. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. I think I'm being too optimistic there. I'm not giving Gwendol enough credit. But I feel like they're really uncomfortable with this, and they might even lash out with g5. Because the rooks lack some scope here. Okay, rook e8, so kind of playing around the bishop. Let's go h3. I think just a good move. Now, if I could get my bishop here, that would be maybe somewhat of an issue, but let's just go rook d2. Check, I'm going to move the king. I got the square covered. Let's be annoying, shall we? I really feel like g5's coming. Oh, okay. They didn't blunder the rook, but the queen was blundered. But time was the bigger factor. Thanks for the game, Gwendol. Interesting scenario roundabout here where you took that pawn. Again, we are following a highly theoretical battle. The game Egemen Yurturk versus BJK, another bullet game, the pinnacle of time controls when it comes to establishing theory. a 2+1 game from a year ago between two 1800s, exactly the same rated. So you were following the seminal game in this line, as was I. And we were trying to improve on the theory here. BJK played bishop e6 in this game. Gwendol, let's see what Stockfish says. Well, it's close. It's close between the two. There's no clear winner. It's a two-horse race. It's going back and forth. You got to defend d5. To me, this position looks pretty uncomfortable for black because there are just mutual threats or multiple threats here on d5 and f6. Yeah, looks like you're bound to lose like 2 pieces for a rook here. And it's another one of these scenarios that's, while equal in material, the minor pieces are better. A little more scope here. More ways for white to create problems than there are for black to create problems. Still an uphill battle, though, or a long ways to go here in converting this to a win. Thank you for the game. If it were me, I think you got to rethink your opening strategy a little bit. I think knight e4 is not a great move here. Although it actually has been played a fair amount, but usually black castles. Seems to do somewhat better with castling. Somehow you lost some momentum around here. I think definitely if you're going to play knight e4, you should not play bishop takes c3. That gives the bishop pair away. Thank you for the game. Okay, so Mitra. Good luck. What should I play this time? Let's play a Grub. Arguably one of the 2 worst moves you can start with as white. The other one being f3. It's quite close between g4 and f3. What is the worst opening move for white? So let's play g4. What about knight a3? I think not as bad as those ones. Still pretty bad. But I would think knight h3 is worse than knight a3. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Pianori. Says, with time problems, I didn't see the queen hanging. Thank you for the game. I think that was my last opponent. So, yeah, thank you, Pianori on YouTube. Should I play deformed English with c4? Sure, why not? I don't know what else to do here. Black played 2 logical moves, and I already don't know what to do with my pawn on g4. Baby crab opening. Okay, well, now I get to justify g5. I get to advance the pawn, and that knight is going to have to go back to g8. I'm sorry, Sumit. Do not hang your knight. Good. You did not hang your knight. You didn't play it to like h5. All right, so this is the makings of a pawn storm now. Let's wait for it to develop. Now, something like bishop e6 at some point may walk into this. That's one thing you learn in this opening. Currently, it's not going to work. Okay, bishop g4 is interesting. I guess I'll just continue developing. John, have you looked into the Danish Gambit out of the Scandi? It's a Schranz line. I've heard of it. I don't know what line that is. Oh, wait. Is that the line where it goes like e4, d5, e takes d5, c6? And you try to gambit a couple pawns on that diagonal? Oh, and now I get a chance to do it, actually. Was that cooperative, Sumit? You're not just playing that move because I talked about it on the stream, right? Okay, because this was my point, that you get this fork. Remember, there's a pattern that you guys want to know in chess of the thousands of patterns that are good to know, mini patterns and whatnot. And one of them is that when you have 2 minor pieces on the same rank, 1 square apart, they can get forked. With 1 square in the middle, they can get forked. Here, I might even get a double whammy. I might get queen a4 in. Although I guess the knight can come back here. Still good, though. Knight c6, take. And queen d7 runs into this, so he's got to move the king. Hey, Ricardo, good to see you. All right, let's castle. Because that looks like fun with these pawns thrown up the board. I'm thinking play f4 after this. Hey, Chess Galaxy, happy birthday. Wow, you're up at 3 in the morning. Impressive. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't make exceptions. I got to stick to the order here, as in the random order. But feel free to throw me a challenge if you haven't already. And just as a reminder, I do play viewers on my channel too. So you will have a chance at some point, if not today. Oh, is that right? Just a draw says modern engines have shown that G4 is much worse than F3. It's very fascinating stuff. Interesting. Yeah, I would bet G4 on move 1 for white is borderline losing in modern engine versus engine play. What do you guys think? Like if you had, a stockfish 15 versus stockfish 15, what are we on? 15 or 14? If you had a matchup between the top two stockfishes with an NUE incorporated, what would be the results of a 100 game match after 1 G4? 1 G4 is almost as bad as the French. Oh, hey, let's not go that far. The French is pretty bad. Sorry to my French players out there. '94. I might try to stuff the bishop with C5 coming up. You love dunking on the French. Take. Okay, check here. I can win the queen. Taking here, very tempting, though, but I think I'll go for this one. Then we'll go for the check like that. Probably a mating net here because the king is getting driven out. Let's keep checking. And king's backing up to A6. I want to find a mate here. Not seeing one, though. So check, king A6. I think I'll go B5. There's somehow still no mate. None. All right, strategic retreat. We're not going to take the queen. We're going to try to set up bishop D2 mate. Still, there's a roadblock. We got to get rid of the queen. Okay. Thank you, Sumit, for the game. So, yeah, against the Grub, of course, there's a lot of stuff you guys can do against this. If you play E5, if you prefer E5, I actually think one of the best setups at Black's disposal is to play the knight to E7. Play the kingside knight to E7 and try to sneak in here to gain access to these squares, which, when the pawn's on G4 instead of G3, it doesn't guard. Other lines, Tafaska just mentioned there's an exchange sack line. Yeah, there's a line that I think is still considered to be pretty good. You can actually play like this, and this is one of the main ideas for white in the Grub, is to try to fire away down this diagonal. But even this line, I have played this myself on occasion, is supposedly pretty reasonable for black. Personally, when I face the Grub, I usually just play C6 on move 2 here, much like you can against G3. You just build a solid wall of pawns against this bishop, and then you're actually threatening bishop takes G4 cleanly. So white usually has to do something here to, like H3. But yeah, I think the plan of E5 and then bringing a knight to E7 is also pretty good. Again, like this. To me, this makes a lot of sense strategically to have those moves available. In engine games, 1 G4 is the only losing move for white, and all the other moves white can hold a draw. Interesting. So do we have any stats on that? Again, I'd be really curious about the results of like a 100-game match between two high-level engines. So think of the game, Sumit. And do watch that pattern as well with that forking pattern here and here. Happens in a lot of openings. Got to be careful about a pawn advancing with the pawn fork. Hello, Charles, by the way. Good luck, Alex. What have I not played? Let's play B6. Charles asked, John, will you be continuing on your channel after this? I will not. I'm going to be grabbing some lunch. A bit of a long day for me already. But I will be streaming again very soon on my channel, no doubt. D5, kind of a suffocating move. Let's go knight f6. If e5, I can take here. And then I'll play e6. I'll undermine the center and just try to develop. John, are you a sci-fi fan? Not especially, although I wouldn't mind getting into the genre. I did pick up Ready Player One recently, so I got that at Half Price Books. I'm excited to read that. I'm only about maybe 25 pages in. I have not seen the movie, but I've heard Ready Player One recommended by a lot of people, so I'm excited to dig into it. Yeah, Dune. Yeah, that's a classic. Ender's Game. Haven't read that one. I've heard that recommended a lot too. I guess for me, I'm not really into fantasy so much. I know there's, ostensibly a difference between fantasy and sci-fi. I was kind of interested in fantasy when I was younger. Like, I mentioned this series of books before on my channel. Did any of you guys read the Redwall series by Brian Jakes? That was one of my favorite book series as a kid. I read all those Redwall books. And if you haven't read them, they're basically about animal kingdoms like warring with each other, featuring mice, hares, weasels, badgers, all manner of animals, mostly rodents. So I really liked that when I was a kid, but not so much like as an adult. But I wouldn't mind getting into some sci-fi for sure if you guys have any good recommendations. Play a5 to try to go knight a6, knight b4. Like feudal mice and such? Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. I'm going to do this to try to make way here. I don't know about giving up this diagonal, though. I kind of liked my bishop there. But it's probably worth it to get the knight involved. Have I read Solaris? No, I have not. Is that good? Hmm. I have a student who also gave me a bunch of sci-fi recommendations recently. The Wheel of Time series is another one that I always see recommended. So I might have to dig into that at some point. Foundation trilogy, yeah. Right, apodictic. Nice. Oh, Wheel of Time is fantasy. Okay, interesting. Pressure here and here. This is looking good. White's position has always been shaky, and I have been up the pawn for a while. And I think that's going to run into bishop takes f3. White tried to rescue that piece there, but ran into further problems. When you play flank openings like this, like I did with b6, you often feel like you're sniping from the wings with those bishops. This one's all over. Let's play e5. You can pop the bishop out here. Play king c6. Oh, I love Carl Sagan. I read Cosmos about 10 years ago, and I think I'm still trying to process that book. All right. What's the easiest way to win this? Let's just double the rooks on the d file, I think. All right, all right. Jump in, hit the rook, hit the pawn. Lots of pawns hanging. Ooh, and I got the rook. Take that. Check. You can have that rook. If you give me the pawns like this. Oh, he doesn't want it. Okay, Alex, thank you for the game. I do appreciate it. Looks like your position got a bit overextended when you set up pawns like this, all on the same color complex. You got to keep in mind that the other color complex is going to be weak. So that's why I started attacking you like on the dark squares. So I don't think you quite have the development to back this up. Looks a little sketchy to me. Maybe if you play g3 here, you can make this work, which would stop queen h4, but I'm skeptical. So thank you for the game. We're going to get in one more regular game here. Federer, Maestro, good luck. The dreaded question mark. I don't know how to gauge my opponent's strength here. I got to put in my lunch order because I'm going to go grab a late lunch after this. We got like a foot and a half of snow the other day. Okay, Federer I don't think is there. So I'm fortunate I'm within walking distance of a couple places I can go to. My tradition is to pick up lunch after Lichess plays. So it's going to be some walking through the snow for me. Okay, let's play the bishop g5 Najdorf. This is a fun line. Always interesting to play this one. Ooh, black castles kingside. I'm generally pretty happy to see castles kingside in this variation because, again, we've got some hook potential breaking through here with like g4. All right, sorry if I seem distracted. I'm putting in my food order. And then we will get to the business of this game and the Bongcloud game afterwards. All right, so he really wants a trade, huh? I mean, I could agree to that trade, but I think I'm going to keep this bishop. It seems useful, and then I'm going to get out of the way for these pawns to advance. Okay. 1 second here. All right. We are good to go. Hey, thank you, Youthful Porpoise. Says, enjoy your humor. Do you have a favorite stand-up comedian? I'm not hugely into stand-up, but no, I guess I don't really have a favorite comedian. Back in the day, I thought Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious was hilarious. So I generally go for humor that's more on like the shocking kind of innovative side when a comic comes along who pushes the boundaries like that. But I can't say that I have a favorite, at least among active comics. All right, F5, maybe G5 coming up. Magnus, yes, Magnus is my favorite current stand-up comic. Magnus is actually pretty witty. I think that's the best way to describe him. He's a witty guy. He definitely has a sarcastic style of humor. Okay, this is a dream attack for white. Black's really going to have to work hard here to keep this closed. Let's take this. And now if b4, I can always jump up. That's nice. But probably we're just going to be crashing through down the G file. Oh, he's even going to encourage me to go in there. All right. I must be winning here. Don't you like when chess players say, I must be winning? How can I not be winning? Probably this one or queen g3 is the most accurate. So that if g6 I can take, and I want to be able to land my queen here at the end. I mean, there's bishop b6 too. There's a lot of good moves, but let's just go straight for the king. A little bit of a roadblock. All right, so now I might use this bishop b6 move. you know? Just to sever the connection here. Taking was also good. Like taking and black takes back, rook G1 was crushing too. But if black plays queen D7 or queen E8, this is winning on the spot because then queen G7 is unstoppable. So black's going to have to lose their queen to have any chance here, but it's pretty miserable. Pogfish, thank you for the game. So, yeah, exceedingly dangerous to castle kingside most of these lines. When white is playing F4, bishop G5, black is going to get mowed down by a pawn storm over here. There is a line where you can play G5 in this position. That is the Gothenburg variation. There's some interesting history to this line that I won't get into. But basically, there was a team match between the USSR and Argentina, I believe, where this line was featured for the first time decades ago. So that's an interesting line. But yeah, I think straight up castles is not good. It might be a little different if your pawn were back on H7. But remember, with the 2 points of contact, black's facing an uphill battle here to defend. All right. It is time. Thank you for the game, Pogfish. It is time for our tradition. By the way, I am open to new last game traditions if you guys have any good ideas, because we've been doing this for a while now, the horsey Bongcloud, but I know a lot of people tune out. They don't appreciate the horsey set. I think they dislike the horsey set more than they dislike the Bongcloud. So that's my theory. Anything but this one, says Rufus versus Doofus. Rev Prof says, nope, I'm out. Yeah, there's a lot of like anti-horsey rhetoric in the chat whenever this happens. Okay, black's playing the usual stuff here. Can I do a pawn storm with the king on E2? I think I can try. All right, I have a plan. Watch out for this bishop. If black goes knight G6, we're advancing H5. Oh, and still we're going to get the trap in. This is how you win at chess. You play king E2 on move 2, and then all your other moves are pawn moves. And you'll win a piece. It's a big brain chess. It's modern chess. John Stevenson says, Bongcloud is funny, but I can't tell what pieces are. Now watch out here, en passant master. Move your queen. Or sack your bishop on C2. Do not move this bishop back. Don't touch it. Okay, good. Okay, I kind of want to hold off on taking this, but I think I should just take it. Can we appreciate that Juicer Carlson is spectating? Yeah, exactly. I played Juicer Carlson earlier today. Shout out to Juicer Carlson from the Netherlands. I'm working on my BM title. I don't have the required BM norms yet. Black had knight takes E5 there, by the way. All right, hide the king. He played the Caro-Kann. Oh, there's queen G6. I'm missing these lateral queen moves today. That happened in that other Caro game. Nice, youthful purpose. Okay. Made in China says, I believe Nepo can still pull a comeback in the World Championship. Well, I like your optimism, Made in China. All right, en passant master, you should definitely take the pawn on h4 now. You got to pick up another pawn for the piece. Feel free. You're down a piece. You got to get some material back for it. Can't tell if stream sniping or just obedient. Cooperative. John, quote, totally trustworthy Bartholomew strikes again. I know. I play the long game with you guys. Many of you don't realize this, but this is a part of my my operating procedure to build your trust. Like an ultimate confidence man, right? Build your trust and then absolutely steal your soul when push comes to shove. I really wanted an Anastasia's mate of some sort, like rook takes here. If I could hop, if my pawn on f3 were not here, I could take and then get the queen to h5 for the checkmate. With the horsey assisting, that would be poetic. All right, thank you, en passant master, for the game. Let's go back to a normal piece set to appease the viewers. Yeah, so you kind of played in rote style, but remember, when your opponents do something really ridiculous like this, feel free to deviate from the script. You know, there's not a real compelling reason to play like the normal way here to an extreme degree. You could go ahead and play something like, let's say here, queen c7 to attack this pawn, maybe c5 even to advance and try to get knight c6 in and go after that pawn. You can mix it up a little bit. And in fact, it's good for your chess to do so. But thank you very much, en passant master. There were no en passants in this game, right? That's why you weren't able to demonstrate your full strength. I made certain to stop the en passants. All right, so thank you guys, as always, for a very fun Lichess plays today. Had a lot of fun, interesting games. Nobody took me down, but you guys tried. There's always next week. And yeah, you know, fun to do this, especially since we just wrapped up the World Championship. I know maybe the second half of the match was a little anticlimactic for many people. I was a little bit let down. I would have liked to see it go the distance or close to it. You know, 12, 13, 14 games. But hey, we still got plenty of chess, online chess, and remember World Blitz and Rapid coming up too. Thank you guys. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you for the nice comments. We're going to send this raid off to someone. No Joke Chess is going to pick who we're going to raid, I'm sure. Perhaps one of the other mods. Thank you, Made in China. Thanks to the YouTube viewers as well. I'll probably see you guys next week. No Joke Chess is hesitating. Usually No Joke Chess is real quick with the raids. But I don't know. There's a little hesitation about who we're rating being bad at chess. Here we go. Hard to find someone today. Oh, that's a shame. There should be a lot of people on this Sunday. Okay, be well, everyone. You guys have a good day. And thanks again. I'll see you in probably 1 week from today. All right, bye, guys. Take care.